the ride.
Welcome to Cast and Crank Podcast, round 2. Kelly and I've been fucking his name up for how long now? Long time. It's Puppo, right?
Yes.
And I'm saying Puppo.
No, you were trashing it.
See? I was. I apologize.
You trashed it. I'll let you get away with it, but you know what?
Hey.
Consider yourself fortunate. Okay?
So we're catching up with Kelly. A lot of things have happened. We did a little photo shoot with Dudefish, Jordan. He did a really cool walkthrough on his boat. So the big thing that's happened to you since our last podcast was your boat.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you have. Looks like a Ferrari's in my fucking driveway right now. So talk about it.
And you got people stopping by.
Yeah, we got people stopping going, hey, man, what you got there? Hey. Kelly was ready to throw a fucking Stella bottle at this dude driving by. He got so mad.
We got so many interruptions. We must have had like 20 interruptions.
At least.
Couldn't shoot.
So talk about your boat, though. Where you got it, everything.
Oh, I just found it alongside the road and just picked it up and it just became a project. Oh, it was a dream come true. Long time waiting. Yeah, waiting for new technology, waiting for new innovation, waiting for just everything to change. This whole boat industry has been flat for years. You look at the auto industry, aviation, everybody else is moving in different directions forward. Mm-hmm. Boat industry has been flat, and everybody's building the same thing. They follow, copy. It's Frankenstein, something different, a little bit different, put their name on it. But it was all pretty much the same, and I was over it. I'm going to back up and say I still have my Ranger. I still love my Ranger. I still am fortunate to be able to own that Ranger and run it. Only I use that for dirty lakes, and that's when I'm no more quarantining, no more.
That's kind of nice, though, having
no more politics and politicians telling me what to do or get caught up in the system. I'm over that. I never had to deal with that, and it's frustrating to get quarantined for 7 to 10 days. I want to go and fish where I want to fish, when I want to fish, how I want to fish. Don't tell me you can't do this or you can't do that or whatever. I don't want to hear it. I live my whole life to fish now, and I want to fish when, where, and how. So now I can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed to have 2 boats. And it's ironic that I have the same boat. I say same boat. 2 different manufacturers, technically by name, but the same people built.
So talk about that.
Same
please.
People built both boats. Same names, same people. And that's golden. And that, to me, because of what I currently have had in the past, is beautiful, great, and basically one of the best hulls, one of the best models Ranger has built. And believe me, there's guys lining up that want my boat so bad.
How did you?
My old boat.
But how did you find out about the Ranger thing? Like where you knew who was building it? Like when you went after it, you kind of did it before everyone else jumped on the bandwagon a little bit?
I was on that Vexxus deal 2.5 years ago plus, if not longer. And I'm not going to mention names, but I've asked questions and people played it stupid and people didn't want to give me information or this or that. So anyways, make a long story short, I did my own research and contacted and talked to the right people. And Ken Mall was one of the first ones I actually got validation from. I didn't want sales pitch. I want facts. And I reached out to Ken Mall, a couple conversations with him, and it was great. And then Joe Uribe reached out to me as well. I had no idea he was with Vexxus, and I met with Joe at the Fred Hall show.
Wow. At
the last March Fred Hall show, and we worked some things out, and he introduced me with the people at Last Chance Performance. Signed a contract with them on their pro staff, and and the rest is history. But it's been a good experience, and I bought the boat stripped. I rigged the boat the way I wanted it. I wanted to know the.
So when you say stripped, does that like no electronics, no?
Just a motor.
Just a motor. That's it.
I got a motor on there.
Because you got a hot foot on that motherfucker.
Well, there's a hot foot. Okay, you got a hot foot. Well, that comes with the motor.
Yeah.
That's part of the package.
Uh-huh.
And I went with the hot foot, and I'm glad I did. You know, people say I should. You know, everybody's got their opinion.
But why do people have discrepancies about a hot foot? The only person I've seen was Anthony, Reservoir Hogs. You ever run into him? He's got a champion.
I've heard the name.
I don't think it had anything to do with a hot foot, but he has a champion like my uncle's. And his steering broke. This is one of the reasons why I changed the hydraulic. He had cable. He changed it to hydraulic because his steering broke and they got flipped out of the boat.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. But, I mean, he's got a hot foot. That's the only guy I know that has a hot foot. You like it for what reason?
I like it because I'm hands-free. And I could navigate, and I'm thinking, too, as I get older, and as, you know, I'm not as strong as I used to be. And if I'm on rough water, and if I want to navigate on my Lowrance HCS Live, it's fingertip control right off the steering wheel, and I don't have to worry about throttling with my other hand, and to get fatigued, either. I'm just using my foot.
Yeah.
And I've already acclimated to that. At first, it was like trying to cast with my left arm, you know, but I acclimated really quick.
Can you cast with both arms? Like reels too, or just you stick to right?
I cast everything right-handed. I'm all right-handed. Yeah, it's too late. It's too late.
Are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So then you
everything
back,
rods in the right hand when I'm casting.
And then you throw it back to your.
And I'll switch it over. But the thing is the mechanicals, as you evolve, there's a half a second leeway where you can get jammed and really get railed by a fish.
I feel like you're in the air when that's happening.
You're floating,
right? You're like usually
you're floating. You're like free falling, but it's the transition, that half second. But the flow of it, you got to be right on it. I mean, it's got to be so quick to change over. Yes, you can miss a bite. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, there's been a few times where you throw the bait on top of that fish, and they just. Literally, the bait hasn't settled, and they just engulf it and it destroy you. I mean, I've had that happen a handful of times in my whole life, but I'm saying it's very seldom. Typically, you're already...
So it wasn't enough for you to like go, I need to change this?
No. I wish I could have when I was younger, because now I have a bad right shoulder. I wish I could switch up, you know. And
have you thought about doing it now?
I thought about it more recently, but I thought, man, it's going to be tough.
They call it the stranger, right?
It's like
jacking off with your left hand.
Dude, I'm telling you, you have to. Dude, my head's spinning right now. I can't even imagine. I mean, well, I know. I had.
You can't imagine jacking off with your left hand?
I broke. You made me think now. I broke my right arm. I broke my right arm.
When?
A few years back, when I was doing a demo on my bathroom. I kicked off a little 2-step ladder, and they call it the dam on the shower.
Yeah.
And I landed with my hip on my arm on the dam, and I crushed my arm. I still had to break the shower pan out. I wasn't even done doing the demo. I finished. I literally had to take a sledgehammer and break with a broken arm. With a sledgehammer and bust out, was it 3.5 inch?
With your left hand?
No, I did it with both hands with a broken arm.
How much were you drinking?
My dad.
See, I only asked this because I've done the same thing to my back, and I drank a lot, and I was demoing, threw my back out and kept demoing.
You kept going.
And then guess what? The next day, I couldn't move.
You're paralyzed.
Couldn't move at all.
You're paralyzed.
I need more beer.
You're paralyzed.
Jack.
Well, make a long story short, I literally broke up all that shower pan out, the concrete. My dad just came back from a funeral. He was in town locally here. Mm-hmm. He helped me bag up, and we had the window open. And back with the heavy visqueen, you bag everything up, tape it up with duct tape, and you go out the window with it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I did that. I didn't go to the doctor till like 2 days after. I come back with a cast on. And now I demoed my bathroom all the way down to 2x4s.
So you got no bathroom now.
I can't do nothing. I can't finish it, and I got a broken arm.
That's your right.
And I almost went to jail a couple of days after that, but I'm not going to get into
How
that
did you
story.
wipe your ass?
That's where I'm getting to. that whole week was a shit storm. Hey, that was a shit storm that came in.
Do me a favor, turn that mic towards you a little. No. Yeah, so just turn it. You can twist it. Yes, perfect. Now go back to where you were. It's aiming at you. Perfect. That's all I needed. Perfect.
It's perfect.
Yep. So you can't wipe your ass anymore with the right hand.
Dude, I try to shave. Can't wipe my ass. I'm like, but the fishing came into it. Like,
Thank God he's been to prison, so he made a fifi.
I went, hey, corn cobs, bro. All right. So I wish I had a bunch of corn cobs. That's when I needed them. You
Shit
know,
sticks, bro.
Whoever thought you need corn cobs in this day and age, you know? So I'm like, I struggled. And I thought somebody took a butcher knife to my face when I shaved. I almost took my mustache off.
Oh, no.
I was all crooked for a while. You know, it was a drag.
And did you not fish the whole time then?
I couldn't fish, but the fact of the matter is, we're on the subject of changing hands. I'm like, if I can't even shave or wipe my ass, how can I cast a fishing rod with my left arm? How long would that take? So it's like, I reflect back to that. I'm like, no way. I mean, I've been in a boat many years ago, and all they had was for left-handers.
So you just
Dude, I was retarded. I was a paraplegic. No, excuse me, but I God forgive me for saying those things. But truly, I felt out of place, man, and I was just like, I'm like.
But that's the thing is, it's like throwing with your left hand.
Dude.
There's no way you could look cool throwing with your left hand. No way. No way. If you're right-handed.
I've done it to where I've had to be in a position with the wind and do that. You know, I've done that a few times. I've done that, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to do that all day. And I see the upper level touring guys, some of the guys that can do
Both
it.
hands.
It just blows me away. And I'm saying, good for them. I should have did it when I needed to do it years ago, and it would have been no problem.
What about skipping? Can you skip?
Yeah, let me show you.
Can you skip baits?
Hell yeah, I could skip baits, and that's a whole nother subject.
Did you practice that for a long time? I mean, I have a pool, and I've tried it. The only reason I ask you is because...
Let me tell you, you just touched a subject right there. A lot of people don't even realize and got the connection on what the skipping presentation is all about. And they think it's all about placement. They have no clue what the whole skipping deal is all about. There's so much behind that. I can get into it and tell you.
Yeah, go.
You know,
give us a breakdown. Say I want to learn how to skip baits. I got a pool in my backyard.
This is stuff that guys don't realize what they're doing, and they're doing it. Oh shit! I skipped my bait, or accidentally. Oh, I made all that noise. They don't realize
they want the noise.
Fish. Hold on. Certain times of the year, it's all timing.
Mm-hmm.
When you skip a bait on the surface, these fish. They're 360, and they can see above and beyond the water level. So when you skip that bait, dude, and it's you got a bait skipping in 10, 12, 15, 20 feet from you, and you're sitting in your little den, and you're all...
your fish den?
And you're like, everything's cool, and you got this... Bam, 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 and it comes flying, and bam! And that fish goes, that bait's in my living room now. Wait a minute, that's my territory. What is that doing there? And they'll wait. Bam. You follow me? Do I need to say any more?
No.
Okay, but there's a time and place.
When do you think
timing?
Explain, please.
You just want me to just give it all out?
Yeah, bro.
People pay for this shit.
I know, but you're not about that. You're about, hey, brown by suerte.
Here we
proud
go.
by choice.
Don't take me over the bridge. I'm warning you.
But I mean, there's a placement for it. And,
this is the stuff that comes out of the black book.
But you got to remember, I don't have many largemouth dudes that tournament fish as long as you.
Dude, you got a circle. You got a circle jerk of all kinds of people around.
I know. I jack everyone off all the time.
Dude, I saw that video. Dude, you were a stud. It's four timer, huh?
Yeah, I can do it.
Dude.
It happens.
Okay.
When you do podcasts, that's what happens. But
Just clean your shoulders off a little bit. Dust your shoulders off. Wipe your chin.
but really, I think skipping can work everywhere. Like even
It doesn't.
calico,
Hey,
dude. Like
clear water, salt water, dirty water. It doesn't matter. There's a whole mechanical thing behind that presentation that it's just unbelievable. And it doesn't matter what bait you're throwing.
But when did you start skipping? Like, what did you do to learn? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I was skipping back on the Delta, the Clear Lake, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the whole thing. And I struggled at first. And it was like, the whole thing is the rod, the reel, the line, everything, the bait, weight.
Please
all
break
the
it down.
mechanic.
Just
There's so much. There's so much involved in it. And then if you got wind, there's chop, do's and don'ts. It's being at the right time, right place. Like I tell, it's timing too. You don't do it when there's a big chop on the water. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it when it's the slicker, the better. But if you get it to a point where, and it's cool if you get it to a point where if you're sitting in a little bit of a ripple and it filters out into that slick water where those fish are positioned, dude.
Is that almost like skipping a rock? Kind of like
same idea.
Okay.
But it takes the velocity, speed, all that, rhythm, and the projection of the rod tip, and you keep it low to the water the whole time. You loosen up your free spool, and that's the key, is finding that happy adjustment.
So backlash.
Dude, it'll be blowing up. But once you get it dialed in, and each bait's different, and each rod that you rig up is different, but once you get the mechanicals and get everything dialed in for each specific application, swim baits were great for skipping.
What kind of swim baits?
Soft baits.
Soft baits.
Dude, they were skipping big baits 25 years ago. Didn't anybody ever tell you that?
No.
Exactly. No, I'm in trouble.
You're giving all the information out.
Oh, forgive me.
That's all right, Jesus. You can sin sometimes.
Forgive me. I'm telling you that there is a zone where those fish are at, and to present the bait that way, I wrecked them just a couple days ago. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrecked them good, and I was skipping.
That's why I kind of like.
Are you hearing me?
That's a hard one to learn though. Like if I want to learn, I tried for probably like a week straight, just in the pool before I had the kid fence up, before I had my baby. It was all open, so I was able to kind of like sit here and just kind of skip. It'd be like every 10 times I'd hit a good one.
Okay, but hold on. You need to be standing on top of a milk crate.
Because you're on the boat.
You need to elevate yourself to get your shoulders in the right position, your elbow in the right position. Because standing on the edge of the pool is not going to set you up in the right posture. And with your rod tip, all that, the mechanicals, you're just fighting yourself. Time on the water, I learned by time on the water. Okay.
Were you ever sitting at home doing shit? Like just saying, hey, I'm in the backyard pitching a jig all the time?
Hardly.
Never. Just time on the water.
If I was bored and it was dead winter and it was cold or freezing, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I did that little bit, flipping or pitching. But that was just like passing time and just trying to keep myself a little, as far as in the zone with the pitching and flipping. If I knew I was going to be fishing a tournament in Clear Lake in a couple months or whatever, I would do that. But that was back when there was actually flipping. Then the pitching came into play. And I saw that pitching technique over 30 years.
So when you say pitching and flipping, so like pitching is holding the line?
Pitching is holding the line here
and then
and letting go and feeding it out and project it. Hopefully you can project it however long you want. As far as reasonable distance. I've seen guys pitch 35 feet, 35 feet. I seen some guys on the Delta do some shit that you wouldn't. I've seen them laying spinner baits 35 feet.
Pitching.
Was that Ron? Or his last name was Moore. He was a Delta rat. Mike Moore, I believe. Okay. He pitched and showed me some stuff back 30 years ago, and he would lay a spinner bait, not even a ripple, and lay it down, and just let those. And I'm saying he could get two cranks on the reel and get hammered. He said, you throw it in there hard, make a splash, they're not going to eat it. Especially those early pre-spawn fish that are up there. They're skittish, spooky. You got to get that spinnerbait and lay it right in there and just let it fall and just flutter it. And dude, it's amazing what you can do. And that back then that was dirty water. Mm-hmm. Delta's clearing up a lot now too. They've been killing off a lot of the weeds. We're going all over the chart right now. So pitching, yeah, you're projecting. Flipping, you're controlling with the line in your the line in your hand, and you're feeding it off, and you're controlling in a short, and you're basically dipping.
Yeah.
Dipping. You're picking your target and dipping it in and dropping it in as subtle as possible. But you're only doing that within about a 6 to 10, 12 foot area usually. 15 feet would be a pretty far distance.
Yeah.
But now everybody's with the technology, reels, equipment, smoothness, castability. Dude,
you don't need to do any of that anymore, right? You just
hardly anybody.
Just use any rod.
I'll flip when I'm positioned or stationary in a spot and not moving, and letting things settle down. I mean, I've pulled up on spots and I'll sit for 10 or 15 minutes before I even make a cast.
Really,
dude? I mean,
just to settle in.
These fish aren't stupid, man. They look at your CF number. They look up the CF number and say, "Okay, well, who's this guy?"
Oh, we've seen this asshole before.
Oh, well, I mean, you got to. I just settled in a spot a few days ago. I settled in a spot. I got bit in one little spot, and I settled down. The wind was blowing. I just said, and there was a bed to my left, and it was a big bed. I'm like, wow. So I just settled in, and I'm like, there's got to be a giant that's going to come in on that bed, right? But I was power fishing, anyways. So I'm there, and I'm like looking at all these sweet spots. So I'm just taking my time. I spent a half hour in one spot and got 3 bites in a small spot, and had fish up to 4 pounds.
That's great.
Over 4 pounds.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those situations. Those fish will settle down. And it's all about the presentation, it really is.
When you go out and reading conditions is a whole nother deal too, as well, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I went out on Wednesday because I saw the weather. We
were going to fish today, but it fell apart because of the wind.
You would be picking me up you guys would have to call a Coast Guard to get me out of the water today. I'm just beat, man. I'm really, really beat. I've been going on hardly any sleep lately. And, today with the winds blowing, I'm sure there's 35 pound, I'm thinking big fish now, 35-mile-an-hour winds plus
of course,
out there right now. Of course. I can't deal with that. I really can't. I'm just too tired. I mean, I was so beat up on Wednesday, I missed a bunch of fish. What
did you catch on Wednesday? This ain't going to come out for a minute, so...
What did I catch?
Yeah.
I had 4 to 7 pound fish. And
that's great.
I had a numerous bites. And the bigger one, you always say the bigger one got away. Well, let me tell you something. I messed up on at least 2 to 3 fish in the 6 pound plus. My big fish of the day was 7, but I know one of those was bigger than that. I blew a 30 pound plus bag. I ended up with 24 and change. Shit. And I had an easy 30 plus pound chance, and I was just tired. I was fishing on 2.5 hours sleep. I had a 20-hour day that day,
That's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. So it's like, you got to take advantage of the time, the opportunities, the weather, the moon. I'm on top of that right now
You're big on moons.
I'm watching, but I'm watching all this. But this time of the year, dude, the fish are up, whatever. But when the fish are up, and you got to follow barometric,
yeah,
dude, all that stuff is golden right now. When the fish are up, all the fish are up. They're shallow. They're going to eat. That's not necessarily true. It's getting that window of opportunity and finding out when to be there and when. And they were going off the majority of the day. That I was very fortunate, but I had to run a lot of water. Change it up, and just look. But I got on some patterns, and stuck with it, and it was really fun, really really fun. And you saw my live well.
I even showed Joe. He's like, where the fuck's he at?
Joe was foaming at the mouth. I feel bad. Sorry, Joe, I haven't got back with you, but I've been just going nonstop.
The only reason I talk about Joe's a buddy, so it's like I'll talk to him once a week, and go hang out or whatever. So it's fun to fuck with him.
He was foaming at the mouth, dude.
It's but shit like that, it impresses me to you to be able to figure a lake out, and go do it.
Especially, I went out to a lake that I haven't been. I've only fished 2 times this year, and I haven't fished it since last year. And no, don't go there. Don't go there.
Okay, keep talking. You want a drink? I think you look a little thirsty.
What do you got?
I got a Bud Light and I got a Stella.
No.
You want a shot?
You know what I need.
You want a shot? All right, I'm gonna get the shot. All right, let's take this shot.
Hey, to better days.
Feliz Navidad,
Hey,
Santo Claus.
you saw my helper I sent you, right?
I did. Eat it first. So back to lakes. You're working.
Yeah, I worked.
You don't want.
I worked at the golf course, and I used to pick up the poop and.
No, but you said you only fished that lake a couple times this year. Are you fishing SoCal usually, NorCal? Where are you fishing?
No, I'm fishing local here, but I've had a late start this year.
Why? Because of the boat?
Just drama in my life.
Okay.
I say drama, but it's just things that I have to take care of and people,
Yeah.
things that I need to do, and I have to do it the right way and take care of my aunt and take care of certain things, and shit happens, man. And people get old and they need help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got to take care of the people that have taken care of me and do the right thing. And then, my whole plan was this year last year was to bust loose and go crazy. And look what happened. I was on the verge of just really wrecking them, and then couldn't fish.
How did you do last year, tournament-wise?
Oh, tournament-wise, I just started fishing tournaments. This year. No, last year.
Last year, okay.
Last year was my first year to fish a tournament in 10 years. My first tournament was on DVL, and little did I know. I woke up that morning and I go, I'm gonna go fish. I honestly, no game plan, nothing. I went down there. I'm rigging in the parking lot. I was a wreck. I was a freaking wreck. I was on winning fish. Little did I know. I weighed in a 7. Dude, I had 7 to 9 pound fish just coming to the boat, and I'm pulling the bait out of them. I'm like, they're just coming at me. I was like, I couldn't see. It was starting to get dark, and oh my gosh, I wrecked them. Not as good as I should have.
What bag? How big was your bag then?
I only had 2 fish, and I only had 2 fish, and I had I can't even tell you the weight, but I had I had 7 something and a 5 something, but I honestly I should have had probably a 7 to 8 pound average minimum. But anyway, make a long story short, I think I took 8th.
Why didn't that happen though? Like what was wrong?
Well, it's me. Part of it's me.
You think your fishing
part of it was me
at the time?
I just woke up that morning and that time of year thinking where I wanted. I put it together in my head, laying in bed. When I woke up, it was like God said, "You're going fishing," and I went and I went and signed up and did it all, and I rushed out there and did it all, and it was.
And you're solo cholo,
and the same. Hey, let me tell you, I went out there kamikaze style. I was going all the way. I didn't know if I was going to come back. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I haven't fished a tournament, and you know what? I would have backseated my partner the whole time. And sometimes when I power fish or certain things I do, I'll backseat. That's why a lot of times I don't want somebody in the back of the boat with me. But if I did, it would be for netting. It sounds selfish, but how you position the boat or how fast you're running or how close you're to the bank or all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to backseat somebody. And I don't want to do tournament prepping, tournament pre-fish or do all that.
You don't get to pick the partner on ABA, right?
No, yeah, you do.
So then why wouldn't you want to fish with the partner? Because you get a combined bag, right?
Well, it's total weight for two. Well, you have to. First of all, I started fishing.
And I only ask this.
Yeah,
Like,
it was ABA. It was ABA tournament.
Yeah.
Tournament that we started on DVL. Yeah, it was, and we had water level droppings the whole time. My bike just got worse and worse as the water level dropped, and in a matter of a few weeks, it's all high and dry. You know.
But why wouldn't you want to have, if you can plan like I do SPS? This is my first year. I did it the year before in Masters, but with Jeff Leifson, he's just stick.
Yeah.
Really good. You pick your partner, so I picked a fucking idiot, my best friend that I grew up with, and he does not fish, but we had fun. And I'm saying that fucking around, he's my best friend. That's why I call him a fucking idiot. But if you could pick a dude you'd fish with, like I'd fish with my buddy Phil, I know I could do pretty well. If you could pick a guy that could fish behind
if I could pick
you,
one person right now, it'd be Mark Higashi.
he won't do it.
That's I've asked him for years. I mean, I haven't fished a tournament
Yeah.
in 10 years, and last year was my first year. But Mark Higashi,
You can go that way, Daniel. It's fine. Daniel.
you have to understand, it's a marriage when you pick a team partner, and you have to deal with all their mood swings and drama, whatever they bring in, and that's what I don't want.
See, I feel
had
like you. I feel like you've had bad tournament partners.
I've had some really.
And you don't have to say who it is, but I'm just saying.
I've had some horrible. Put it to you this way: I mean, it's hard enough to be casting, but then to have somebody on your shoulder the whole night that you have to hold on to, and carry them on your shoulder.
But that's why
I don't want that. Or they're having other issues, whatever it may be, and don't bring. That's the thing. You don't want to bring what's going on at home, or you don't want to bring bullshit into the boat. We go to have fun. I just want to have fun, and that's the whole thing.
But if you just want to have fun, wouldn't that be part of the
not
therapy?
Not to have somebody bringing you down.
There you go.
Knowing
Yes.
I have the potential, and especially night tournament, what I can do at night, when you have a limited amount of hours, and there's certain things that work, and I can excel on that.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I want to throw that away on somebody that's going to sidetrack me or take me out, take me off the field, so to speak? And I had 3 different partners last year, and I'm just saying, man, it was an experience. And I'll tell you what,
But that was just last year. So like previously in the years, I
had it 20, 30 years ago too. It's hard to find somebody that's in the game.
Did you ever find that one guy?
No.
Never.
Well, Mark Higashi.
You fished tournaments with Mark previously?
No, we fished. Me and Mark, when we get together, magic happens. I said that in the previous podcast.
No.
But no, Mark, we will do some damage, and the thing is, it's lax, and he rolls with it. I say something, he rolls with it. He makes adjustments. I don't have to be worried about somebody. You see, when I bring people in the boat, a lot of people is like, I have a game plan, and I tell them certain baits, certain rods, certain stuff we're going to do, and they want to do. They don't get bit in the first 5 minutes. Oh, they're going to change up, and they're cycling through 5 different things. I'm like, dude, this is the window we got, and these are this bait or this bait. This is what we need to do, and they get distracted from sticking with it because they don't have confidence.
How much pre-fishing are you doing when you're doing this? Your whole life you've done it.
No, I don't like to pre-fish a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You get your mindset
I only ask
because of the pressure.
You had a game plan. That's what I'm saying. Is like
game plan comes into my head, and I'll time of year put it together. And if you know the terrain, the lakes, the way things are happening, have a general idea, you can show up, man. You show up and you give it your all. And hey, where the chips fall, they fall. You just do your best. You see, but these guys go up there with already like, okay, well, we spent the whole day today pre-fishing. We're fishing tonight. How could you possibly... Okay, you can see certain areas where you want to fish. I get that. But night and day.
I would never pre-fish like...
It's night and day. Difference, timing. Fish move. Okay, night fishing and daytime is completely different. So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm not going to focus just on, well, I did this during the day and this is what I'm going to do at night. And that's the biggest mistake these guys do. Or this is the spot. Well, it's the spot during the day or in the morning. oh, it's going to work it. We're going to catch them at night. I got 20 pounds here. They don't realize those fish there went from here to here, and now they're over here, and it's midnight. But at 6 o'clock, they were over here. It's midnight, and they're over here. Not too far.
Yeah.
Guys are like, okay, this is the spot. We'll sit there, we'll anchor up, and sit there for half the tournament or the whole tournament. I've done that a couple times, and I've cashed in and I've bombed. But
It's almost like a gamble if you anchor up like that.
If
and
you-
find a spot, it's like,
dude, it happened to me last year, and people well, they wait for you and see how you weigh in, and they know where you're sitting, and they want to beat you to the spot to the next time, and they had no idea about the spot or what this or that, and Kelly weighed in 15 pounds on that.
so you
spot.
guys will get that. I mean, people will look at your spots when you're fishing, kind of like,
Dude, I got to a point where I had some money spots and some spots I had to go to right out of the gate because of the situation where it's set up for a big bite with a big bait and the whole 9 yards. And
which is
after
play on that a little bit, because a big bait bite in a tournament is completely different than just big bait fishing. You got to like time that like a motherfucker. You know?
when every lake has a key to that lock, and every lake has those prime spots, and they don't change too often, and the weather dictates when that's going to happen. You can't force that. You have to be there at the right time, and if you spent your time and you've been there long enough, you'll know when to show up there, because I've seen them show their faces. I'll let them show their faces during the day. I'll see them. I know they're still there, and I'll come back a week later, and they're still there under the right conditions, the time of year. And there's only so many places on a lake that have those golden spots, and you big bait guys know that there's a handful of spots on every lake. They're the go-to spots, and that's where they live, and that's the shot you got when the time is right. And I would have those opportunities sometimes out of the gate, and after one or two tournaments, everybody sees where you fit, where you run to. Well, if you get a low number on the draw, then there's 2 or 3 boats sitting on your spot, and they're not even positioned in the right spot. And they'll sit there, and you're like, oh, my God.
just to fuck you.
They're not. They're like, well, Kelly, did he fished here? Or, he got a check that night.
Yeah.
But they don't know where, when, this, and that. I've been pushed off those spots, and I'm like, okay. I went out in the freaking middle of the freaking lake or the middle of nowhere and go stick a 6-7 pound fish on a freaking drop shot. I'm like, well, that's a good way to start the tournament. These guys wouldn't let me get on my number 1 or number 2 spot. Okay, so you got to have a backup plan. Most guys don't have backup plans. They just run to a spot. Well, okay, let's go here. Let's go there. They have no idea of the positioning of the fish. Are you going for the reaction bite? Are you going for the bottom bite? Are you going mid-level, mid-depth? Whatever it may be. You have to be able to make those adjustments as you get into the tournament or through the night and make those adjustments. That divides the men from the boys, and that's making decisions. And decisions will make you or break you. And that's the bottom line. I make a lot of bad decisions. I would say the majority of the time I make a lot of bad decisions.
So do I.
My whole life. I'm still here though.
So this is another good question, because you've been doing this forever, man.
I'm old as dirt. I know where the bodies are buried.
You do. Big bait in tournaments now. I feel like if you watch some of the guys, I'm like, wow, they're throwing the big baits now. Is that something new? And then how did you incorporate that back then?
It's not new.
How did you?
It's not new.
Okay.
Number one, it's not new. It's just social media has exposed what's happening, and there's a few elite guys, a handful of elite guys have taken it from the West Coast, so to speak, and brought that back through the south, and back east.
That's a West Coast
And-
thing, big baits, you think?
Largemouth.
Yes.
Big baits originated from back east, muskie fishing.
Okay.
Okay, muskie fishing.
How about this? Who bring them here for largemouth? Like when they said, let's try to do largemouth on the West Coast with big baits. Do you remember that?
Largemouth. Okay, that is part of saltwater, if you can believe this, saltwater. The whole saltwater scene.
Fucking assholes.
The saltwater scene. And that's because saltwater, back then, there was Worm King, you know. And
AAA.
there was the AAAs and the Worm Kings, you know. Oh, there was the Ranowskis.
Okay.
And that's how I got into it with Ranowskis. I think they were 6 inches, Ranowskis. And that's what I threw to catch big stripers. Me did not transition to the largemouth with it. I fished them at Pyramid.
And that was what year?
Oh, gosh, that was early to mid 80s.
Fuck, dude.
Early to the mid 80s. And towards the late 80s, dude, was a heyday of the soft bait, swim bait, paddle tail type that blossomed into the swim bait scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that all evolved. And that's where how it blossomed. And that was the beginning of it.
Do you remember when it, like, fast forward, like, say 10 years, where you could use that bait in a tournament and it'd be like, fuck you guys, we're going to make a big bag?
See, that's the whole thing. It's just like, I had the opportunity and I didn't because I was shot down. And
What do you mean by shot down?
because it's just like, you know, it's like you swinging for the fences. It's like hero or zero. And me, I was very, very, I fished conventional. I fished everything. I love the whole idea of slinging bigger baits and power fishing. But I didn't capitalize on the big bait when I should have. I had the opportunity and I didn't capitalize on it, and it cost me.
What year was that, you think?
That was in the early 90s. Early 90s.
But at the same time, I feel like you, knowing you or talking to people about you, and you are, like you said, you fish everything. So you'll conventional fish.
No discrimination.
That's what I'm saying. So like
on anything, and I catch giant fish on 6-pound, 8-pound line, and I don't care what, and I don't have to beat my chest.
So that maybe
I don't have to beat my chest either way. Big bait, little bait, it doesn't matter. It's all about the catch, presentation, and what you do coming from right here.
You think that's lost nowadays?
Of course it is, because pride.
Why? Because you need to catch it on a big fucking bait, or
I gotta have an 8'6" rod and 30-pound line, and I got a 12-ounce lure, and I'm gonna go kill somebody with it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
This year has been horrible for big bait. I seen between a transition from last year, somewhat of last year, but this year of the big bait scene, and just, dude, fishing it's the big bait thing right now. My dick's in the dirt on that right now. I mean, literally, I'm losing my shoulder's effed up right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are certain baits I still want to throw, but I'll tell you what. You have that confidence, but the fact of the matter is it's not the same. The fish are so much smarter. The windows are smaller. And what I'm hearing and seeing, dude, there's some good sticks out there that are just suffering. I mean, they're catching 3, 4, 5 pounders on 8, 9, 10 ounce baits. I'm like, dude, am I going to throw my shoulder out and jack up my body for that when I can go catch?
But you got to remember,
I can go catch a 20, 25 pound bag on conventional or light gear or whatever it may be. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm happy. Then to go out there with a broken arm or just like be laid up and, putting
Do
in.
you think your shoulder's fucked up from throwing big baits for a long time?
Dude, I'm a laborer.
Well, that too, right?
I'm a retired rodeo clown, dude. I'm shot. Everybody, my doctor looks at me and goes, man, he goes, you haven't changed. You look good. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, if you knew what I did, I spent hey doc, I spent half my life trying to kill myself. I mean, come on. I showed you, you see my boat? I'm like, I'm done trying to kill myself. I got to live for that and take whatever I can, whatever's left in the tank, and drive it to the end of the cliff.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive it to the end of the cliff, and then I'm going to freaking fade away in the sunset.
But you made a legacy, homie. So you you don't think you did, but you did.
No. Easy, cowboy.
Hey, no, really?
Easy. Just a rodeo clown here. Just trying to find a nut to crack,
But you got to remember, like, so there's not many dudes that do what you did or have done. Or
oh no, I'm just a
can I
dude.
Finish?
I'm just,
hey, hold on.
No,
Let
easy,
me talk
easy,
now.
cowboy.
Hey, let me talk.
I'm just a little clown out in the freaking circus out here.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Don't be like that. Hey, I'm just here.
I'm not trying to jack you off. I'm not trying to jack you off.
I'm here to help and give a little information, insight. That's all I'm here for.
Okay, but you don't get a lot of guys that broke down the big bait like you in fish tournaments. Like some guys, like Big Rob. You know Rob? He fishes Castaic a lot.
Yeah.
He fishes tournaments, and he goes for the big bait, and we talked a little bit. He's supposed to come on the podcast.
He's consistent. Yeah,
he's very consistent.
I've seen some of his stuff. He's pretty good, yeah.
So it's like, but there's not a lot of guys like you where you will learn how to fish that bait, that big bait, use it as a tool. I mean, people are starting to do it now, like Brandon Palaniuk, like, I talked a little bit about him, like learning how to fish it with.
It's a locator,
right?
They will show you where they live,
but
they won't tell you how to catch them. But they will show you where they live.
So why wouldn't you want to do another run, dude?
Another what?
Doing the run at the fucking go for the pro, dude. Go all the way. You don't got it. You don't feel it.
I'm ready for a combo.
I'm
ready for the retirement home, bro.
I'm gonna get you some fucking HGH, bro. We'll shoot it right in you.
I'm telling you,
but you know what I'm saying?
Body can't take that abuse anymore.
I know, and I get it.
I'm good for one day tournaments, one night or nighttime tournaments, and that's all I'm good for right now. I want, and I mentioned this years ago, for a senior open, 2-day practice, 2-day tournament or day and a half tournament, whatever it may be.
What would you want the age cutoff to be?
I want a 50. I want a
55 and over.
I wanted 55, but I said, well, probably to get a better turnout, you'll probably be about 50, 52. But a true senior open would be 55. But ARP looks at 50 as you're ARP now. You're 50 years old. But I'm saying either way, it would be great to bring back the guys I used to compete against and bring them back and go out and just have fun. Make it a $1,000 entry fee. It sounds steep, but look at it this way: we're all going to get together. We're going to put some money in the pot, and let's do it like the old pro-am style. Have a 1-week cutoff, a 2-day practice, a 2-day tournament, and end of story. And do that. Do it like I say. Not do it with a non-boater, pro-am style, or do it with an observer, whatever. That would be tremendous. It's long overdue. But you have to realize a lot of these guys are all getting old. They're dying. They're getting sick. That whole breed, that whole generation's going. That knowledge, all that history we're losing that every day. There's so much out there. That first generation profile here is gone. They're dying and they're gone and they can't do it. I mean, it's like so.
And like you said, the knowledge is like a totally different thing, man. Like.
That knowledge and that history and everything is just something that this younger generation hasn't have a clue of what happened here on the happened in the Western United States, period. Okay, and how it was back then. How we had rain and storms that would last a week to 2 weeks of rain. Shit, we had lakes that were just spilling over, more water, trout plants. It was fertile. great. We never knew how good we had it. And that's California. All of California. Little did we know we were going to lose it all. And the windows of opportunity now are very slim. And
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny how there's people that, have been posting some big fish the last few years. Turns out they're fishing small bodies of water, and they're just fishing the same body of water for the same fish, posting the same fish. And you look this year.
Here's a question for you.
You look this.
Here's a question for
you
you.
look this year, and they're posting 6-7 pounders, opposed to 10, 12, 10, 11 pounders, or holding fish right up at the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's got tighter. It's tougher. Weather's different. It's tough, guys. It's not an easy game right now, period.
But I feel like that's for everyone. Like, you see dudes that were pulling 16, 17s out. It's just not happening no more. Like, it's not going to happen.
You're not talking. Don't be talking about 16, 17 because that's a dinosaur.
Right now.
That's a 16, 17 right now would be like a 20.
Do you think that's going to come back? That's the question. Is do you think it's going to come back to where we can get a 16 or 17?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're out there. In fact,
When?
there's been a 16 recently caught. There's been a 16.
I heard I talked to someone that caught a very big fish. I don't want to talk about it until they release it. It's a big fish, and I was like, fuck, man, really? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah,
And he's like, and I have cast to catch and a scale. And I'm like, shit. He didn't tell me the exact weight, but I mean, they're there. You just got to find them, right?
I won't say they're there. I'm saying there's few
Uh-huh.
and far between. And that's very, very lucky and very fortunate to come across a fish like that right now.
I love how you said lucky.
Lucky.
It's not.
It's timing, luck, everything about it. Intercepting is
how much if you had a scale, okay? If you had a chart, a pie chart, and you said how much is luck, how much is skill, how much is talent, how much is.
But you have to base that on the individual because how much knowledge they have under their belt. Dude, come on. There's professional people, there's amateurs, and then there's weekend warriors. So what do you want to call it?
You think weekend warriors are catching 17-pound
A weekend
fish?
warrior can come out there and bang a 20. I seen them come out and bang 20, 25-pound limits, and they didn't even know what they were doing. I'm like, I come off the water, and I'm struggling, and I see these. Oh, we caught them on a Berkeley power worm today. Our smallest fish was 5 pounds, and I'm like,
fuck me.
you know how many times I've heard that and seen that shit? And I know the lake I've been fishing. I'm in the zone. But it's like, those fish didn't go for me today. And I have to kick myself in the ass all the way home after having somebody tell me that.
But that's a difference because it's consistency, what you're doing, not luck.
Well, I'm targeting. This whole game's numbers. It's all about numbers. I don't care. Anything related to anything is all about numbers. It's a numbers game. Consistency, numbers, the amount of time you spend out there equates to success. The more you do it, you start to ride. You got training wheels. What happens when the training wheels come off? Same thing. You're out there freestyling. You're on your own. You get bigger and better, and you just keep growing. And it's all about time on the water, man.
Can you think of a pro that figured the big bait out and kind of worked it in the game a little bit that you were like, oh, this fucking guy got it. He kind of knows what he's doing.
Well, I saw Byron Vela do it back in the day for years. I mean, I seen that, and it's like, cool, good for him. There was only a couple guys doing it, but it was a long shot, and it was that one big bite, catch the big fish, and then go get a freaking 1.5 to 2 pound limit and win a boat.
So that's what they're doing all the time. Bam, bam,
I'm saying that's
them.
The timing of the year.
Yes.
Or get that bedfish, whatever,
Didn't Dobbins do the same thing?
Stumble on that bedfish and hopefully nobody, or beat everybody to it, or get lucky, and catch that 6, 7, 8, 9 pound bedfish and back it up with a limit each day, and you win a boat.
Do you bedfish a lot?
I do bedfish from time to time, but I'll be honest with you. People will say, "Oh, you bedfish." That's you shouldn't be bedfishing. Everybody bedfish. Everybody bedfishes. If you're fishing from February on, you're catching bedfish. Blind casting doesn't matter what you're throwing. You're catching bedfish.
Really? From February till when?
We got spawns going all the way through the summer now.
Fuck.
Okay, so you're catching bedfish, little do you know, at all different depths. Okay, you don't have to physically see the fish to call it a bedfish. How many times I've in fact just recently too, I was on DVL and I'm blind casting stuff and I'll get hung up and I'll go in and get my bait and there's a 4 or 5 pounder sitting there looking at it. I'm like, oh my god! Or one sitting off the tree. I'm like, oh my god!
It was a bedfish.
And I'm like, no, but I'm saying if I would have been, if I would have had it in the right spot, that fish was ready to come up and eat the bait. But I caught several fish, good fish, just blind casting. I'm like, shit, they're bedfish. You know, they're all bedfish. You know, or you get a stupid,
So it's
or you get
crazy because you can say I don't like bed fishing, but you're still catching them because fuck,
it doesn't matter.
You don't know.
You guys go, oh, well, I don't bed fish. I don't need to bed fish. I just go out and go fishing. And I go, well, dude, I go, look and see what's going on out there. People don't pay attention of the surroundings and what's going on out there. I see guys just flying down the bank. And I'm like, okay, cool. And power poles. You got power poles that are going to be out for 4 months right now. $100,000 boats, power poling. You don't ever hardly see a power pole go down.
Hey, why don't you have a power pole?
Let me finish.
Okay, I'm listening.
Cállate.
I'm going to grab a beer real quick while you're talking. You want a beer? You good?
I'm good.
You want a shot?
I'm good right now.
You sure? Okay. Just checking. Come on.
Easy.
Respect your elders, fool. Oldies rule forever.
Easy, cowboy. This ain't no rodeo.
All right, we're back at it. Bedfish, power poles, go.
Yeah, it's funny because you get all these guys out there with the power poles and the $100,000 boats, and they're gone by 1 o'clock. The wind's blowing. Oh, conditions aren't right. You know, we don't see a bed. I'm going home.
But when it blows, that's kind of when you want to fish, right? Depending on the technique.
Depends on how much wind. How much wind, temperature, certain situations. Clouds are good. I love clouds.
So when I remember,
Did you hear me? I love clouds.
That's good.
Barometric.
That's a good tip.
Barometric clouds. Need I say more?
So I remember when I went to DVL when I first started, my uncle told me, he's like, hey, when it gets windy, go to points, throw jerk baits. I said, okay. I didn't know what I was doing. My uncle put me on my biggest fish ever, spinner bait. Then he goes, when you go to DVL, when you go to points, when it's windy, throw jerk baits. I said, all right. I'm like, you're full of shit. Every time he's told me something, it worked. You know, my buddy's sitting on the motor because you know, trolling motor. I'm fucking catching one. Another one, you know, like it's going off, you know. Like
I've done that. Sit on a motor and be casting out there.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
running the motor it's on a tiller,
and
just casting. Oh yeah, those were good times.
So I mean, it's sometimes you got to listen to people as well, right?
Yeah, you do.
You feel like a lot of people don't listen these days. I mean,
you talk, and sometimes it's kind of funny because people are so caught up in what they've heard already and what they've already perceived or what they've already got in their mind. And when you speak or when you tell them things, it's like it goes right over them because, well, I saw this YouTube video and he did it doing this way and this is what he did. And it's like, well, okay. You going to believe everything you see on YouTube? I mean, is everybody going to tell you the truth?
never.
I mean, right now I'm telling you it, saying it black and white to you. I'm not sugarcoating anything, you know. But fact is that you listen to the right people who've been there and done that. And that's just that simple. And you know what? You progress from that. It's your loss. I learned that when I was very young. From the journeyman that I was around learning the trades and stuff. You pick up on that shit quick. And if a lot of them don't want to tell you because they don't want you to succeed or go above them.
But you'll find that one guy.
When you get that one guy that's going to spill his guts and tell you everything.
Dude.
You soak that in and you take that to the bank because you can't buy that, okay? You're giving so many people on this podcast, this platform, information from time to time, and you have to listen to the right words and how they speak and what they say and just pick up little nuggets.
This is what Gilbert said, nuggets. Little golden nuggets.
Little nuggets. of what they say, and that is golden.
But it's crazy.
That's a guide trip. This is a guide trip.
Free.
This is a free guide trip. Your podcast is a free guide trip.
All right, go ahead. So you set the hook.
So I blew up your shit or what?
Yeah, that's how good you are. You blew up my fucking recorder.
So, yeah. So the double hook set deal.
Yes, please.
I set the hook. I was subsurface. I set the hook. I'm using. What was I using? 65-pound braid, I think, that time on that deal. And I set the hook, and the fish comes flying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this fish is coming at me, right? And I didn't have a chance to double hook set. And this fish was the momentum of this fish that was coming at me already. And then when I set into it, and it wasn't that big, it was only probably 3.5, 4 pounds. I literally brought this fish from under the water, out of the water, just coming, and my hand slipped off the top and went and hit the spool when I was reeling. And
you lost
I put the brakes on this fish, and now he's skidding on the top of the water and comes off. And he's coming at me 10, 15 feet, and I'm watching this fish just scooting at me, and I'm in my line. There's in front, just dropped down. There's nothing there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then on my 7-pounder, I had to keep my rod up, and I had to keep this fish coming at me because the angle and everything that was set up where I was. I didn't want this fish to go in and bury up in there and anything. And I had to keep him up, and it was like there was a slip on my finger or something on the reel, and there was a little glitch. I'm watching the video. I'm like, man, I'm making mistakes here. That was at the last cast, last fish at the end of the day. God. 7 pounds. I'm like, man, see, I need to get some.
But the double hook set.
The double hook set, I have a habit of doing that, power fishing,
like bam bam,
and throwing the big bait.
Okay.
I do a double hook set.
And how does that look?
Because the momentum, because typically I'm throwing 20 to 25 pound fluoro,
okay,
or I'm throwing 50 to 65 pound braid. So I still do the double hook set because of the momentum of the hook set, especially on a long cast. I've had some big fish rail me on a long cast and just set the hook and feel them, and then they shake. They were so big and powerful, they just shake you. They'll grab the bait and just start shaking, and you don't even get a bait because their mouths are, and they pin the bait, and then they start shaking and they shake the bait right off. And that double hook set can pin them on the side, or get them, or if you have them hooked, get them.
So you're setting the hook.
I'll do a double.
And do it again.
I'll do a double hook set.
Okay.
But it's all based on the situation. How hard I hit them. But I will do a double hook set, and once I got them coming at me, I usually drop the rod down, and power in, and keep the momentum of the fish coming at me. Choke up the rod and bring him in. The fish don't even know he's coming in the boat.
It's a good piece of advice,
It's the momentum of the fish, and the power of you coming in with the right rod and choke up the rod and bring them right in the boat. I've done that up to 9 pound plus fish.
What's your PB again?
I've never bounced a double digit. My PB, like I said, it's unofficial Lake Piru record, 15, 16 pounds.
From?
Minimum 15.
From where?
Piru.
Was it good? Really good before?
It was great.
Why did it go bad?
No trout plants.
Really?
As far as big fish.
Like everyone else, like everything else.
Yeah, it's the times, I'm not saying it's horrible now. I'm just saying it's just not the fishery. They're not the fisheries we had before. You have to realize these fish that are pushing 23 to 26 inches, they're not weighing.
What are they, fucking 9?
Yeah, you're catching these 8, 9, 10 pounds.
That should be 13, 14.
That should be double digits.
Yeah.
They got the huge head, they got the shoulders, the frame, but they just don't have the weight. And then every now and then you see one of those footballs. Those fish, man. And those are the fish that are feeding, and they're more, that gene pool is perfect. They're set up, and they're growing really good. But traditionally, a lot of these fish we have, they're just long and lean, and they have no girth to them. You know, they don't have the girth that they had back in the day.
Yeah.
So that, you know, has changed. And like I say, I catch, you know, my share of those 21 to 23 inch fish that just are not weighing 10, 11, 12 pounds. You know, you get the early teeners, small teeners, they should be in that 24, 23 inch, 24 inch range. 25 inch should be no issue. But now you're weighing in 24, 25 inch fish that barely weigh 10 pounds.
That's crazy.
That barely weigh 10 pounds.
Just from the trout.
Or nine.
Just from the trout.
Or nines.
Yeah.
You know, nines that should be at 10s and 11s, you know, 11, 12s. You know, and that's where I miss out. I miss out on that. You know, and those fish are dying. Those are old fish, and they're dying. You got fish that are maturing and dying when they're weighing 9,
So now you get like
9, 10, 12 pounds. They're dying young. I mean, that's a young, lighter weights, lower weights.
So now your fishery is like pushing out like 7s, 8s.
What fishery?
Like Piru will be pushing out that because
there's still big fish there. It's just not the numbers.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like without those trout plants like you had before, you're not going to push out the same.
No,
quality.
you're not going to push out the same quality. The numbers are going to be smaller. You know, just smaller windows for those big fish.
Yeah,
if you can catch a big fish, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like that across the board. There are a few places that have the potential for that 12 to 14 pound, very limited, but you do have those.
No, I mean I've only fished there once. I told you about it. The bear.
Yep.
Bear tried to get me. It looked like a snack. He tried to bite my ass. But let's talk about your sponsors. Let's talk about Vexxus, Last Chance, Performance. Everyone a shout out that supports you.
Well, you know, I'm not a sponsor type guy anymore, or looking for all that stuff. You know,
No, not at all. But you,
I'm in a situation right now where, you know, Fred Hall show going there for the first time since 2008, and a lot of people with open arms, and it was a reconnect for some people and things and stuff, and it worked out pretty good. I don't want to be caught up in the politics so much, but yet I'm willing to help those who help me as well and take care of them, and it's mutual. So, you know, I have the Vexxus, and I dealt with Keith Tripp too. He was very informative, and I pounded him with. I had a list of. Seriously, I had a list of questions for him, and put a couple gray hairs on him probably, but literally, and I gave him some ideas too for future upgrades or things or adjustments and things too. And I threw it out there. It's just things that, you know, I think everybody's got an opinion. And
like
actually there's a couple things they did now that I mentioned.
That's cool.
You know, and that's good, and I'm glad they're moving forward, and they have an open mind, and they're listening to hear, and they want to hear what fishermen want, and they're listening.
Yeah.
They're listening to fishermen, which is good, and they are fishermen. Okay, so that's a bonus. They're not just out to just produce a product; they're out to produce the right product.
Yeah.
For the right situation, the right people, and they have a good variety of boats and stuff. And Last Chance Performance is the West Coast or Southern California dealership, which you purchased your boat there too from.
Yeah, they're great people.
Which has been very, very, very good as well. And like I say, Dan is outstanding when it comes to his rigging, and he's top notch, on what he does. Very, very good. So, and there's a lot of good things happening over there. Probably things you don't even know about, but there's going to be some things busting loose over there. But that's all coming in time too. So that precision sonar, they've hooked me up and took care of me very well, and I appreciate that. And Ryan is top notch over there, and I highly recommend you looking into the the Precision Sonar website and seeing what they got to offer and all the accessories. I bought everything. I mean, I got everything a lot of what they produce.
No, it's cool stuff, man. I
mean,
checked it out.
there's a lot of cool stuff out there that they have. Let's see. Performance Tackle has always been a supporter for me. It's like my second home. It's my detox or get away from the world. You know, go over
Just
there.
don't talk to the manager. He's an asshole. Joe Gator.
Oh, poor Joe.
I love Joe. He's the best.
So Joe's good. Yeah, he's shaped up and he's come a long ways.
You gave him a jab still. He's shaped up.
He shaped up pretty well in the last couple of years. He's come a long ways. No, seriously though, he's
No, Joe's amazing.
He's
man.
transitioned. No, he's transitioned the last couple of years. This last year and a half, he's transitioned quite a bit in his fishing abilities, his skills. He's really honed into it.
Yeah,
So
good,
he's
man.
coming.
a
He's
stick.
coming along really well, and I like to see that, and it's good. He's growing, and he's got a long ways to go yet, but he's doing good. He's a good dude. He's a good asset to Performance Tackle.
Yep.
And the rods they build are phenomenal. I mean, I think I have up to 15 rods right now that are Performance Tackle.
I gotta go get mine. I'm gonna get some swim bait rods. So yeah, I'm all about that.
Shannon's top notch over there. He does
Yeah,
the
he's
handles.
great. I
He's
love
on
Shannon.
top of it.
Yeah.
Tommy is
The
by
best.
far the sensei of rod building.
Yep.
You know,
He learned
And
from the master, right?
don't step on his toes or infringe on his little zone over
You
there.
know, Tommy will fuck you up.
He will wrap you up like a rod and smother you in clear coat. You never know what hits you. Yeah, so that's pretty much, my shout out. I wanted to do this whole thing with the boat build and thanking everybody.
That'd
as
be
well.
cool, man. Like we did a cool video today. It'll be really cool to see what's gonna come out of it. Be cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because
Yeah.
we spent some time and we had
At least a couple
we had
hours.
20
man,
we
yeah.
had 20 interruptions during the shoot.
Kelly was ready to throw a bottle at some dude driving down my fucking street.
You saw that bottle in my hand.
I thought he was gonna do it. I was like, "Fuck, man!"
Oh, that was.
But Kelly, thank you again, man, for coming on.
But one thing though, there's a couple of things we'll say for another podcast.
I told you we're gonna do multiple podcasts.
But
like
there's
this.
there's a lot of stuff. But listen, it was fun. It's been a pleasure. And my hat goes off to everybody who's been on the show. I told you if I have to shit my pants or wear a diaper, I'll come out here and do that. I don't know how to top some of these guys, but it's crazy. But I mean, dude, it's been a blast.
We've had fun.
You're growing. Hey, things are from the last podcast, and dude, things are blowing up.
Yeah, I
man.
appreciate that.
Things are blowing up, and it's all positive. It's all
But
good.
it's people like you.
Hey,
that came on
it's
this
just
podcast.
it's
I
all
appreciate it.
it's all positive. All positive. It's all good.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the invite. It's believe me, I'm just a squirrel looking for a nut.
There you go. Thanks, guys, for listening. Check out Kelly on Instagram at Kelly Puppo. Puppo.
There will be
1969.
there will be
Or
some
1989. What is it?
there will be some nuggets coming out.
Look at it. He's gonna do
I
it.
got the YOLO tech, and it's just a little bit here and there. Not going to get too crazy, but there'll be something here and there for you guys eventually.
So it's at Kelly 69. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.